B.ed, Ctet, CDP, चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट पेडागोजी हमारे 30 क्वेश्चन इस सेक्शन से आते हैं Ctet के एग्ज़ाम में। तो इसका आज हम 13 चैप्टर करेंगे। इसमें इसके सिलेबस में टोटल जो है 23 चैप्टर्स प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है। आज हम 13 जो चैप्टर इसका करेंगे। 13 चैप्टर का नेम है इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन एंड एड्रेसिंग चिल्ड्रन फ्रॉम डाइवर्स बैकग्राउंड्स। Under various articles of the Indian Constitution, free and compulsory education is provided as a fundamental right to all children, irrespective of race, class, color, gender, disability, and language between the ages of 6 and 14 under the RTE Act 2009. Thus, the disadvantaged and deprived communities, backward classes, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, disabled, and girls have been brought into the mainstream of education. Then inclusive education. Inclusive education is defined as a learning environment that promotes the full personal, academic, and professional development of learners irrespective of race, class, color, gender, disability, and language. The history of inclusive education in India includes the milestones given below. Integrated education for disabled children and a scheme started in 1974. District Education Program 1985. National Policy on Education 1986. Integrated Education for the Disabled. A project started in 1987. Persons with Disabilities Act 1995. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan 2000. Making all schools disabled friendly by 2020. Current implications of inclusive education. Inclusive education allows children to develop friendship with them, peace, and feel less social tension about them backgrounds and disabilities. It has been observed that children placed in a standard classroom environment generally have higher self-esteem than children who are isolated into different classes simply because they have special needs. Other students shows that children with special needs actually learn more in regular classroom environments, provided they get the help and support when they are needed in and out of the classroom. When it comes to academic subjects, the principles of inclusive education are as follows: non-discrimination between students, equal education opportunities to all, schools adapt to the needs of students, equal educational benefits for all the students views are listened to and taken seriously, individual differences between students are a source of richness in diversity, not a problem. The purposes and need for the inclusive education are as follows: to fulfill the constitutional responsibilities of the government to enable children to stay with their families, for the development of healthy citizenship, for achieving universalization of education, for enabling all students to develop a feeling of self-respect, for the use of modern technology to fulfill the objects, for enabling social equality of all students irrespective of them differences, for making the students self-reliant. Understanding children with special needs. Initially, a learner with special educational needs (SCN) was defined as a child with visual, hearing, locomotor, or intellectual disability in line with Western thinking. However, in India, learner with SCN special education needs also includes learners from the disadvantaged and deprived communities. These include the children belonging to the groups of child labor, street children, victims of natural catastrophes and social conflicts, ethnic and religious minorities, economically weaker section, and those in extreme social and economic deprivation, meaning the backward classes, SCs, STs, and disabled girls. Learners from diverse background. Education of learners with special education need is a powerful instrument of social change, often initiate upward movement in the social structure. Therefore, they helping to bridge the gap between different societies of sections of society. However, many more needs to be fulfilled. As students' studies in government schools have shown that in the classroom, such disadvantaged and deprived children are subjected to various forms of discrimination and humiliation. both by the teachers and by the other students, which severely affects them self-respect and self-confidence. Disadvantaged and deprived learners. The socially, culturally disadvantaged and deprived children include children from backward communities, SCs, STs, as well as who get separated from their families due to poverty, natural calamities, epidemics, etc. They are termed as socially maladjusted because they face problems in adjustment with other learners due to social, economic, educational disparities. They are not given proper guidance or proper education opportunities. They can be identified by the following reasons: a lack of verbal and language abilities, as they have very poor vocabulary in the common language of instruction, leading to the poor communication of them ideas to others. Low level of motivation, they are not being provided with adequate stimulation by them families, peers, and immediate surroundings. Having inadequate nutrition, unhealthy sleep patterns, and lacking a sense of cleanliness. To fulfill them needs, the steps to taken are as follows. Them basic needs of food, clothing, shelter should be met. Government should waive off them school fees and provide them textbook and school uniforms free of cost. They should be made to feel self-sufficient by encouraging them to develop vocational skills. Psychological counseling and rehabilitation centers should be arranged for socially problematic children who are also labeled as juvenile delinquents. Methods of inclusion. Inclusion does not only mean the placement of disadvantaged and deprived students in normal classes, going with other children. It must also incorporate a fundamental change in the way a school community supports and address the individual needs of each children. Two such methods in which the school and the teacher are involved are given below. First, the improvement in pedagogy. One of the most important principles of inclusive education is that no two learners are alike. So, inclusive schools must place great importance on creating opportunities for students to learn and be assessed in a variety of ways. Thus, the teachers in inclusive schools must consider a wide range of learning modalities: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, extra in designing them instruction. The curriculum should be designed so that it promotes identification and creativity, not alienation. Creative arts and crafts as well as oral expression should be incorporated in it, particularly those which are rooted in indigenous knowledge and skill system. The curriculum should be flexible based on learner centered pedagogy and should have comprehensive evaluation process. This would have to promote inclusion of learners from disadvantaged and deprived groups. Both these initiatives will not only increase the way in which educators provide support and accommodation for such students, but will also diversify the educational experience for all students. Improvement in language. There is a possibility that disadvantaged and deprived learners speak in them local dialect, also called home language, instead of the language in which they are instructed. In such a case, the teacher should acknowledge them language, not reject or dismiss it. The teacher should understand that a child can express itself best in its home language. The knowledge of such learners can be increased by the teacher using concrete concepts whenever possible. These concepts must relate the knowledge being imparted to daily life experience. The Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. The Right of Persons with Disabilities Act have been enacted in the year 2016 by the Indian Parliament. The Act replaced Persons with Disabilities Act of 1995. The 2016 Act is in line with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. This Act provides that the appropriate government shall ensure that persons with disabilities (B.ed) enjoy the right to equality, life with dignity, and respect for his or her own integrity equally with others. The government is to take steps to utilize the capacity of the B.ed by providing appropriate environment.